Morning, guys. Jordan here at the Natty Gnome Homestead. Today is December 17th, 2024, and we are out here in front of our greenhouse getting ready to take some fig cuttings that we are going to try to propagate so we can plant them next year. Figs are probably one of the easiest plants there is that you can propagate from cuttings. Now, we do a lot of propagation here on the farm. We propagate all kinds of berries, whether it's blackberries, raspberries, blueberries. We do tomatoes, we do figs, we do all kinds of things here on the homestead. Figs are probably one of my favorite to propagate because they are so easy and it has such a high success rate. So today we're going to walk you through the process, start to finish, of getting a fig cutting to taking it all the way through to getting it to root and planting it. So why don't you guys come in close and we're going to show you how we get this done. Now here we have two Chicago Hardy figs in these are 25 or 30 gallon mineral tubs. These do very well for our potted plants, whether we're planting our fig trees or if we're doing like our dwarf cherries. A lot of our smaller fruit bearing trees go in these mineral tubs because they're real easy to move around. Now, these are supposed to be hardy uh, figs all the way up to the Chicago area. These guys have already gone dormant, and as you guys can see, we've got pliable twigs coming off of here. Now we've already cut these back. The main stems, I think these were about 7, 8 foot tall. We cut these back at the end of summer. Now here's a close-up view of the end of one of these twigs. We have a node. There's another node. The nodes are opposite, and we got the bud right at the very end. Now we can take cuttings all up and down these twigs on these fig trees here. We're looking for anywhere from 4 to 6 nodes per cutting. However, a lot of people find that they have the best luck with the end of the cutting that has the terminal bud, this one up here. Now, I found that to not be the case. We use rooting hormone with ours, and we do the wet sand propagation method. This tends to work out very well for us, but try it your way, both ways, however you guys want to try it, and try it in water too. Guys, these things are pretty easy. You can stick them in the ground and they'll send out roots. Taking these cuttings doesn't have to be difficult. Like I said, we're looking for between 4 and 6 nodes per cutting. If you have 6, that tends to give you a little bit of leeway. If you have 4, you can make that work. I've even talked to some guys that do single node or 2 node cuttings, and they have pretty good success with those as well. But what we're going to do is we're going to count from this terminal bud here on the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if I counted down 4 nodes, that would only give us about a 2-inch cutting on this one. I want that one a little bit longer. So I'm going to go down 2 more. That's going to give us 6. That's going to give us a nice 4-inch, maybe 5-inch cutting on here. You can go 1 more if you wanted to. We like to keep our cuttings between 4 and 6 inches. That tends to be the sweet spot for us with how we do it. Experiment. Longer cuttings will work. Thicker cuttings will work. Guys, these things are probably one of the easiest things to practice on. We're going to take our sanitized shears. Now, you want to wipe these down with some alcohol or use a little hand sanitizer or something on it. So we're going to count down 2, 3, 4. And we're going to make a cut 45-degree angle, because when this goes outside, we're going to keep this up, pointed up, just like this. The water's going to run off of it. It's not going to sit and pull on it and make this rot. So there's one cutting. We can actually do this again. We're going to cut that off there. Guys, it really is this simple. So we got 2 cuttings right there off of just that one twig. Let's come over here to this other plant, see what we can cut off of it. There's another cutting. We're going to take these and we're going to get these propagated. So here's a batch of fig cuttings that we propagated in the sand. They've been in this container of sand for about, I want to say 4 weeks, going on 5 weeks right now, and almost every one of them have started to put on roots. This is why we like to use the sand propagation method for our fig trees and a lot of our cuttings here on the homestead. In 3.5 to 4 weeks, we started having a good amount of roots. Now here we are almost 4.5 weeks in, and we have roots that are nearly 3 inches long all the way around this fig cutting. Now here we have just a bucket of play sand. We like using the play sand because it's already washed and sifted out. It doesn't have big particles in it. Guys, this is one of the easiest ways to propagate plants, whether it's elderberries, blackberries, your fig trees. Guys, this is how we like to do it here on the homestead. Now, we already had a batch of these going, and they propagated really well. As you guys can see here, we've got some that have 3 and 4 inch long roots on them already, and they've only been in here a month and a half, month or so. I like to use a rooting hormone. You don't have to. Figs are pretty easy to root on their own. We took our cuttings and we washed them in a mild detergent, and we set them off to dry mostly. They're still a little damp here on the end, but that's okay. Now, remember we have the top end, the terminal bud is pointing up. If you don't have a terminal bud, you can also look at the leaf scars. They should all be pointing up. You want to make sure you get this plant in the right direction. We're going to take the bottom end, dip it into the rooting hormone. It doesn't matter what kind it is. And we're just going to lay this here on top of the sand. We're going to kind of nestle it down just a little bit. And I'll bring you guys in close here in just a second, show you how we do this. Knock off the excess, lay it down, nestle it in. Okay. So I'm going to put the rest of these back in the way they were, so they can continue to root. We do this in several stages. Now this sand has already been moistened. We do open this up once every other day or so, and we just give it a light misting just to keep things nice and humid in there. We don't want it dripping wet. If you've got mold growing on your plants, one of two things have happened. Either you have it too wet, too warm, or you didn't clean your cuttings properly, and they've introduced some sort of bacteria or mold or fungus or whatnot. So we're just going to place a lid on this, and we're going to set it someplace warm but out of direct sunlight. And usually in about 2 weeks, you're going to start seeing little white nodes pop up on the cutting. And in about a month, you're actually going to see roots. All right, guys, so we're back out here in the greenhouse, and one of the things we're going to do is we're going to plant these in these red cups. Now, brand doesn't really matter. What you are going to want to do, though, is you're going to want to take your pruners or a knife or something and cut 4 or 5 drainage holes in the bottom. You guys see that? We're going to do that to all of these cups. Now that we have the bottoms all set up for drainage, we're going to add a little bit of our homemade potting mix. Now, if you guys haven't already watched that video, go ahead and check it out. It really is helpful. Makes your own homemade potting soil a whole lot cheaper than the stuff you get from the store in the green and yellow bag. It's a lot cheaper and a lot better quality. So go ahead and check out that video. And if you guys haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe for us. It really does help us out. Give us the motivation to keep these videos coming. Free for you, cheap for them type thing. We're just going to stick a little bit of that potting mix in there, in these cups. Not much, about 1/3 of the way full. Take one of our rooted fig cuttings. Now you guys can see this. That root is the length of that cup. This is only 4.5 weeks of being in that sand. So I'm going to poke a hole into that. I'm going to set that root down there in the bottom. I try not to get any of my roots to curl. if I can keep from it. You guys can see down in there. And we're going to get these planted. There we go. And there we have 11 Chicago Hardy fig cuttings that we took off of our own trees 4.5 weeks ago, guys. Now, like I said, we're going to take these cuttings and we're going to put them in the house on a heat mat. Those roots are going to explode. We're going to turn on a grow light for them. They're going to start putting on top growth. Guys, in about 2 months, these are going to be ready to transplant. We'll probably go ahead and bring them out here to the greenhouse at that time. Let's see, it's 60 degrees outside. It's a balmy 84 degrees here in the greenhouse. So, and this is an unheated greenhouse, by the way, guys. So that's how we do it. That's how we do our propagations. We like the sand propagation method. It works very well for a lot of different plants, whether it's your figs, your elderberries, your roses, blackberries. It works good, guys. If you have any questions or comments about propagating your fig plants, please let us know. Let us know what kind of varieties you guys use. We have Chicago Hardy here in Southern Illinois. I'd like to try some of the other ones, but I just don't know if they would make, especially if we get them planted in the ground. They may just not handle the freezing weather that we get. So if you guys haven't done it already, like, share, and subscribe. It really does help us out. Till next time, guys, spring's right around the corner. Get out there and start propagating your plants, especially if you got room. You never know what's going to happen. You might be happy you have them. Y'all stay safe.